Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel about cross stitch. I've started to add a little bit of paper crafting into the channel, and sometimes I'm combining cross stitch and paper crafting to just be able to do it all, my favorite crafts, all in one. So I'm so glad you're joining me. If you are new, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you like what you see and hit like and subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions and I will do my very best to answer anything that you ask. If you're a returning friend, thank you so much for joining me for another video of cross stitch and chat and talk and fun. And as usual, I hope you're getting lots of stitching in if you are stitching while watching me. And I always say I would love to know what you're stitching on. I have found some new patterns just from when you tell me what you stitched on, and then of course I have to check it out, and then of course I love it. You know how it works. We all seem to do that. Let's talk about a couple things before I get into my actual stitching. One, I did put out a couple of new extra videos this week. I'll talk about one when I get to the projects, but the other one, because last week's video was a very hard stop, I was having real trouble uploading it, and it was a long video, so I ended up cutting it really abruptly, but it was really the only place I could where it would make sense, and it shortened it, and I was able to get it uploaded. So I figured that would be a perfect time to do a Stitch With Me video because I had been talking about it, and I figured out a setup that I think worked pretty well. So I did sit down on Sunday morning, grab my stitching, and have a little chat. And that uploaded on Monday. And I did, in that video, I kind of did what would have been the end of last Friday's video. So I did tell who the giveaway winners are, but don't worry, I'm gonna give anything I said on that for giveaways, I will give an extra week because that's an extra video and the information had to be cut out of last week's video. So I will extend all of that 1 week. I talked about that, and then I talked about life. I had a lot of little crazy life stuff to talk about. So it was perfect. It worked out well, and I got some good stitching in, and I hope you did too if you were watching. I know some of you had said that you did, so that was great, and I really appreciate you spending some time with me and stitching with me. So I did that, and I did the other video, which I'll talk about. And then in that Stitch With Me video, I had talked about that last week I didn't do any giveaway. What I wanted to do was I wanted to look at the clear the list. It's a hashtag clear the list, which is where teachers can create wish lists of things that they need for their classroom, since so many teachers have to buy everything themselves and there's no budget anymore for the schools to provide for their classrooms. And so I said last week I would go to clear the list and I would buy some stuff for a teacher's classroom rather than doing a giveaway. And what was awesome was that Sandy, Stitching with Sandy, I'll link her down below. She is a Flosstuber here. She's also a kindergarten teacher. I spoke about her maybe a couple videos ago. And she said that she had to clear the list and provided me the link, which I loved. I jumped on over there, looked through her list, grabbed some stuff. So hopefully she'll get that this weekend. And I would like to put a link to Sandy's list below. So that's going to be one of the first things you see in the description box below. If you are so inclined and you would like to maybe take something off of Sandy's list, it's really easy. You buy it at Amazon, but you say ship it to her, so it goes right to her and it's all set. And if you buy off of the list, it should delete it right from the list. So that should mean that she doesn't get any duplicates as well. There's also just a hashtag clear the list, and you can find lists from teachers all over. If you wanted to maybe support a teacher in your state, or you could even find one that's in your town or city or whatever, or maybe a certain subject or whatever. Some of these lists give lots of information about where the teachers are from, what they teach, and maybe sometimes like a little something about them or their kids or their classroom or whatever. So I encourage you, if you can, if you'd like to check out Sandy's list, check it down below. If you just want to go to hashtag clear the list, if you go to that, there is a place where you can get a link to lots and lots of lists to help some teachers out. So that's that. I don't know what it is this morning. This week was kind of one of those funny weeks. I don't know if it's because it's August now and July kind of snuck by me really fast, or flew by me, I guess, really fast. And I blinked and it's August and things are all starting to get ready for the fall. And I'm a little discombobulated today. I'm not gonna lie. So we're just gonna run with it, right? I would like to say that I've never been polished in my life. I've usually say something that's a little bit embarrassing or something along the way. It's just me. So we go with it. I would like one day to be really polished. It's not happening. Okay, so let's go to the cross stitch instead. All right, I have a bunch of things. I have a full finish that I wanted to show you that I did a second video on this past week. I have a piece that I forgot to show you last week. When I was grabbing my projects, it just lifted up with the previous project and I completely didn't see it. And then this week's stitching, and then we'll go from there. So this past week on, I think it was Wednesday, I put out a finish with me video and I finished a cross stitch ATC artist trading card. And this is what it looks like. So if you remember, if you watched last week's video, I talked about where these little huts came from. It was a Twin Peaks primitive chart and what I did or changed. And then in the video I talked about, and I walked all the way through, we finished it together. The only thing I did ahead of time was to cut this part because I didn't trust myself. And once you cut, you're cut. You can't fix that part. So I walked through exactly how this finish happened and what I did and how I did it. And so now this is an artist trading card, an ATC, ready for trade. So that's going to go in my pile so that when I start trading or swapping with some friends, any of you, if you're interested, remember, let me know. This will be going in the pile of those ready for trade. So that's that. I'm going to put this over here, right on the windowsill, because if I drop it on the floor, I'll lose it. Okay, so last week, the piece I forgot to show you, or I just grabbed the wrong one instead, is by the Bay Needleart, the Nubble. This one I have got a good start on, and I figured I actually brought it last week to the needlework group, and I stitched on it there, and I just grabbed some chunks at the bottom. So I've got the, there we go. I've got the lighthouse and this part done. I've got a lot to do down here with just the actual grass. There's another little building with a red roof right there, and then the fence, and then I've got back stitching to do. So this is just on 18 count white Aida. I didn't do anything fancy with it. And if you've been here before, you know how much how many times we spent summer vacation, not the summers, 1 week in a gunquit. And every vacation we went at least once, if not twice, to Nubble. So I had to stitch this when I saw this. So that's that. That was from last week. It didn't get any stitching time this week. And I'm going to place these a little quieter. Well, I don't know how quiet that is because I'm concerned with if you're wearing headphones, I don't want that to be a big noise for you. Okay, next. I have said that, and this is bigger. This is not going to get done. I thought, especially if I work on it every week, I thought I could possibly get it done in August, but it's not going to happen. It's big. This is my summer gnome from Wonderland, Ukraine. It's so pretty. I love stitching on this one. I am not stitching the blue background. I will stitch that little grounding element underneath the feet. So that's what it looks like. There's 3 in the design that you get if you buy it. And I chose, and I don't know why, because I really like the green in that one. But I chose this one, maybe because it was just bright and cheery with all the sunflowers. So that's the one I chose to stitch. And here it is. So we're getting there. This is an 18 count unnamed fabric from Coffee Crafts Fabrics. And somebody did ask me how do I order if they're a UK company? And what I've done in the past with their Facebook group is, you know, she'll show something and then people will say, you know, can I have that or whatever, so on and so forth. And then they send you, she sends you I was gonna say Facebook, a PayPal invoice. So once you've ordered once, the email should be in the records, unless your PayPal email changed, of course. But then it's very easy for them to just send you an invoice. You pay it, and then they send you the stuff. And I don't know what the exchange rate is right now, if it's good or bad in relation to the dollar. I just do the best I can. I never quite got which way is which, so and we haven't been overseas in so long that I haven't had to worry about it. But anyway, so my focus was a lot, the yellow portion of this flower is completely done. Well, yellow, oranges, all those different shades. I just didn't quite finish the center of it. And I think there's 2 stitches in this one of the center, and that will be completely done. And then I also worked a little bit here, and I did a little bit. There's a lot of color changes here. I love it because it really brings those flowers alive. But then in the process, sometimes I get a little tired of those yellows and oranges, so then I come down and I do other stuff. And even in this hat, there are multiple colors, which is why you get such depth with the picture. So it's really charted nicely, and I'm really enjoying it. But I would like to work on this some more this August. Usually at the beginning of the month, you know, I don't do plans necessarily, but I look at a few different charts that I would like to see at least once in the month, just to get me working on them. But I would like to work on this multiple times this month, whether it's twice, you know, in 2 different weeks or 3, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to finish Northern Lights before I figure out another piece that becomes my 1 to 2 strand stitch a day. This one will need more than that. I think that would take a long time, but maybe I give it a day during a week and then extra stitches of a strand or 2 a day. I don't know. But I think my goal of finishing this in August is a little bit lofty. I think this is going to take a little bit more time than that. But I do enjoy stitching on it, and I love the gnomes. I have a couple of the other patterns as well, and I also, like I said, I loved the other ones in that series too, so I'm sure you'll see more gnomes in the future. I was watching Georgia Girl stitching, and she bought the Christmas gnome. She bought a really cute one, actually. But she had mentioned that they don't have a summer one, and how cute would that be? And I agree. If they put out a summer gnome, I will be all over that right away. Okay, next. Speaking of Northern Lights, right? Isn't that what the official? Yeah, Northern Lights is the official name of this. This is from 2x2 Stitch Art. This I am stitching 1 to 2 strands a day with. If I can get a little tiny piece finished with an extra strand, I'll throw in an extra. This is all completely full coverage stitched, completely. So there's a lot to it, and you think, okay, when you see it now, you're gonna say, that's not much, Laura, you can get that done. There's way more stitching in there than you think. But here it is. My focus, I took this area down here as my focus. I thought it was a little bit ambitious that I could get it finished this past week, especially given, you know, just a couple strands a day. But in that area, there was a bunch of different, like sea green, different shades. So I went and I did all that first, and then now I'm doing fill-in. So the rest of this part right here just needs black. And then I'll do the same thing with this quite big chunk up here. There is some, whether it's the teal or the sea green or some of the blues, I'm not sure what it is, but there's some fill-in of color. And then I think up here, that's a deep navy. because this whole section is navy, and then this section comes black with the shades. And I am using Anchor Black. No, I'm not. On this one, I'm using 310. I apologize there for a sec. I think I just, when I kitted this up for myself and for Connor, I think I just grabbed the 310s, so that's what I ended up using. So this one is a 310, not my usual anchor switch. This week I will focus on this because it's just one color. So I am fully expecting to get that done, and I'm hoping to jump into that section this week. So this one will be a steady project until it's finished. All right, next. So next I have the full coverage that I had worked on for a couple days last week. So it got some more time this week. And this is Little Red Riding Hood, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artwork is by Annya. And they do have a mini of this one, and I think the colors just, or the whole piece looked just a little bit different in my mind as a mini, so I did go with the regular sized one. And it's going to be, now there are some purples and blues up here, so I do get a little bit of color besides just gray and black, but it's going to be a while till I see like real pops of color. And I'm just plugging away in that top left corner. So there we are. That's where I am right now. I worked on a whole bunch of things. There's some lighter grays over here. Again, you know my strategy, especially something like this where there are some big chunks of color. I work and do a chunk of color, then I will pick out one of the symbols for confetti, work on that where I can. Sometimes that means it also does some other extra color, and then I just go back and forth. This is an 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1 full cross. Both full coverages you'll see. All my full coverages are 18 count, 2 strands over 1 full cross. So that's where it is. So this one now will get a little bit of a break, and this week for a portion of it you'll see the next one I'll be working on. Okay, next, I'm really proud of myself because so far I haven't tried to talk myself out of getting this project finished, and I'm really close now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more. So what are we at the beginning of August? This could be done if I keep at it every week at the beginning of October. If I'll have it. Well, see, October will have already started, so I don't know if I'll push myself to fully finish by Halloween or if not. But if I can get the stitching done and get myself continued with it, I'd be really proud of myself for that. So this week was day 23, which was this one. And I have to say there's more colors in it than you realize. And somehow I made a mistake that I can't figure out how I did. It's a placement mistake. And I can't figure it out, but it looks fine. And again, it's not in this type of full one piece, so it doesn't necessarily matter. But sometimes you just can't figure out where you went wrong. And this week it was 18 count Storm by Picture This Plus's turn. I have a little bit of a thread there. So on this piece right now, these are some of the pieces I've worked on. Because I'm cutting these as small ornaments, I probably could have actually moved this down a little bit more. I didn't know how much space I had. It'll be a little tight around here, but these are going to be small, so I'm not really worried about it. But that's what it looks like. And somehow or other, these 2 pieces of candy should be lined up a little bit different, more underneath each other. And I honestly, I went back and I counted and I can't figure it out. But I got it done. So next week is, where are we? Day 24. All right, this is, yep, day 24. So that will go back to Haunting, I believe, is the next fabric. And then I will take out, I'll do this one on black rather than, and we'll go back to the rotation there. So I think there's about 2 more in each color fabric, which this is all I have of this. So that's why I kind of did this, because I was a little worried about space-wise over on the side here. So I made myself a little bit more work where I did this, but oh well. It is the way it is. I can figure it out. And it's for me, right? So it doesn't have to be super perfect. You know what? I'm gonna put that there because that would make a lot of noise if I drop that one down. Okay, next. I'm pulling out an Autumnland Stitchery, but it's not the one you think. Serena Sprout did not get any work done this week. Instead, I pulled out Autumntown. I felt like something just a little bit different. And I'm kind of in, do you know with patterns, so there's a lot of houses here. There's a lot of houses and a lot of trees. I love the overall finished look of it. But you know how at some point when you are in a pattern and you kind of reach that section where you get a little bogged down by the repetition of the same types of elements. So that's kind of where I am. So I wanted to pick this up, work through it a little bit, and continue to kind of, when I get to I have one of the pumpkins done down here, but when I get to this row of pumpkins down here, that'll be super exciting because then the houses will be closer to being finished. What did I just do? There we go. And here I am. I have to hold it differently now because I got to show you the full piece. You know, I can just do this with the fabric. When I originally started stitching this, for some reason, this is the full piece for some reason I didn't cut it. Most of the time I do cut my pieces to size and then stitch on them. I'm not sure why on this one, and I've debated with just doing that at this point, but I'm wondering if I just finish it this way. But here we are. This is an 18 count fallen leaf from To Die For Fabrics. And if we come up, I focused, where did I focus? On this side. So we built a roof, we have some house, and I did bring the tree down. But again, except for the small areas where you'll see the green, this is full coverage stitching and there's a lot to it. So those houses, they take a lot. So sometimes I switch between house and tree and go back and forth. But I have a huge swath right here of house and a big tree right here in the center before I get down to all of the pumpkins. So I'm at that point where I need to work over and through the sticking point of more trees, more houses. So if you have any strategies that work for you on that so that you don't let a project, because I could let this sit now for 6 months and not work on it, but I like it so much, and I don't know, there's a lot left, so I don't know if it'll get done this fall, but I would really like to see good progress on it. So any pearls of wisdom from you of things that might work for you, I'd love to hear them. Or I just keep plugging away, you know, type of thing. I enjoy it. It's just sometimes picking it up and saying, okay, which house or which tree do I want to tackle next? Okay, now see, I almost picked up 2 projects again at once. I'm going to do that with that one too. Now, this week I worked on another artist trading card, and I'm having so much fun looking through my patterns and finding pieces of patterns. There are some places where I could use just the full pattern because it's a teeny tiny pattern, but there's so many, and this is what I want to encourage. If you thought about it and said, well, I don't know if I can do it, I stitch on, you know, whatever count, and that, just pick a piece from somewhere in a pattern and just give it a try. And it can be something tiny, it can fill the whole little 2.5 by 3.5. There's so many different things you could do. And if you have a question about something, reach out to me. I would love to chat with you about it in regards to whether it would work. So I pulled out this pattern, which I want to stitch the full of. And now that I've stitched a portion of it, and I love it, absolutely love it. This pattern it was part of the Time for All Seasons series. It was number 5, BZ Spring, Cottage Garden Samplings. So can you guess what I picked? I picked the bee. And you know, I don't necessarily keep the neutral fabrics, and I didn't in this case, and I love it. Love it, love it. These colors on there. I'd have to pull out all the other colors for the flowers to see if this kind of shade will work, but I think it will. So I just chose, and I don't have this cut down to the trading card size yet. So you're just going to see it. This is the scrap that I chose to stitch it on. And I stitch in hand, so I'm so glad I've kept all these little scraps because they're coming in handy now. This I do happen to know was Honeydew Melon from To Die For Fabrics, and it was an 18 count. Some of these scraps, I have no idea what they are or where they're from. But this one, because I've used it so much recently and I've been cutting off of it, I knew. So let's bring the bee up close. I love it on this color. I adore it. So you can see the original, and then we can see, there we go, what it looks like on the green. And the other thing I mentioned with this, which is kind of fun, with these artist trading cards, I know over the different weeks and videos, I get a lot of people say, I would love to try new colors, but I just don't know. This is a great medium to try something different. If you've been really wanting to try a different color fabric than what you normally stitch on, whatever it happens to be, whatever shade it happens to be, these are so small canvases, and you can just stitch a little piece and you'll get a feel for it. I've stitched on this, the bee on this now, and if I said, oh, well, it looks okay, but I don't love it, I would know I wouldn't necessarily want to stitch this whole piece on a green shade. But after stitching the bee on that, and like I said, I'll pull the colors of the flowers, but I'm pretty sure I want this on a shade of green. So that's a lot of fun too, if you want to experiment and kind of do two things at once. One, if you want to play around with an artist trading card, and two, if you want to just try something different, changing the flosses or changing the fabric or something or other color-wise, go for it. It's a lot of fun that way. And you haven't invested months and months of your time to finish it and say, oh boy, I don't really like that, or it's not for me or whatever. So that's my stitched part. I want to figure out how close to the bee I want to trim down, but I do have an idea of what I want the finished card to look like. I just have to kind of settle down and do that. So that was that. And I was able to stitch this guy in a day. I think that was there was one day this week that I had really good stitching time. Yesterday and the day before, I surprisingly had way less stitching time than I thought I would. But this day, whatever day it was, I had good stitching time, so I was able to get that done. Okay. Next, I pulled out an old one, but I said to myself that this is one that I do want to work on in August, and I should have a finish. It'll be 2 years old in October, either September or October. I have to look to see when I started it, but it was started in 2020, and there is no reason why it cannot be finished this month. So it is, if you haven't been around since then, Betsy's Autumn from Plum Street Samplers. And I have this one in Cinnamon Stars, and I have them both started, but I think I started this one first. And I like both of them, but I like this one just a tiny bit better. So I said, I really want to get this one done. This will most likely go into a stitching scrapbook with Cinnamon Stars, if I were to guess, especially because I stitched them as companions with the same exact fabric color. So that would be kind of a nice look too. But that's what it looks like. We go farther away and let's bring it up. This is an 18 count, and the color is, it's a little warm. Maybe back here you'll get the warmth of the yellow. When I bring it up close, it's not quite the same shade. It's 18 count Honey Amber from Fabrics by Stephanie. And I literally took the piece that I bought from her, I cut it in half, and I used half for this, half for Cinnamon Stars. I do want to do some color changes in Cinnamon Stars. I'm going to take the colors of the pumpkins in this one and transfer it to Cinnamon Stars because the DMC alternative is a little too brown for me. Sometimes it seems like with these, you get kind of in Prairie Schoolers the same way. The fall colors look more brownish than fall. And I know it's the look and the aesthetic that they go for, but I want to change it up just a little bit. Brown pumpkins just don't. That means it's the end of the season and they don't really look that good, right? Or at that point, they're probably either eaten by squirrels or squashed into like sunk in type of thing. But anyway, I finished all of the leaves. So the leaves are all done and there was a couple little attachment pieces I needed to do. So I got that done. And then I worked on leaves over here, down here. And I have one more apple to do here. And then I have to backstitch them all. Now, in the fact that I'm using Aida, I do have to split the way it's charted. And I did one. I think it's okay. Backstitch that way. You do split the threads. But, I mean, again, it's not like this is for critique of any sort. So I think it'll be fine. I have a little bit of the grass to finish. I have her face to do. I'm most definitely not using the charted color for the face. It's almost mauve or something. So I will change that. And then I think I have pumpkin stems over here. I chose not to fill in the windows of the house. Given that it's on this fabric, it kind of looks natural that way. So I wanted to keep it that and not fill it in. So we are very, very close on a finish. There's a lot of little stuff. So if I pick this up again this week, I'll see if I will. I may or may not get it done because there's a lot of little changes of color and stuff. But by the end of August, before the end of August, you will see a finish on Betsy's Autumn. That is my goal. So hopefully we'll get there. I would like to see this one. This one's been, if I look at my list of stitching, if I go back in January when I had my project parade, you know, I have everything listed from oldest down to the ones that I had done newest. And this is quite near the top of the front page as one of the oldest pieces. So I would really like to get that one done. So hopefully you'll see a finish in, if not next week, the week after. If I get it, if I work on it each week. Okay, let me put the chart with it so we don't forget that. 2 more pieces. 2 more. This week's full coverage that I pulled out a couple days ago is Hidden Harbor, charted by Heaven and Earth, artwork by Andy Russell. I love this one so much. And I'm super excited. I am almost, well, I am done. I'm done with the blue, you'll see. So I'm getting ready to jump into more colors up top. And this only got probably 250 stitches, 300 stitches over the last couple days. So you're not going to see much, but it's big progress for me. I got the blue all done. So this one obviously is a very long piece. You can see where I didn't iron everything. I kind of just ironed more where I was. But I did all of this over here. So the main blue color of that top is done. And I started to fill in some other. This blue does come down a bit, but that's as far across as it's going to go. So I don't know this week when I take it out, if I'm going to continue to focus there or if I'm going to come down this area and focus with the yellows and the purples. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I love the colors in this one. So fun to stitch. And as a reminder, 18 count, 2 strands over 1 full crest. All right. Last one. This is the one that I stitched during the Stitch With Me, and then I did get a little bit more accomplished some point this week. I don't remember. But it is the Spring Quaker from Jardin Privé. And here we are. So this is an 18 count Dancing Queen. I always have to stop and think about that. I couldn't remember which one it was on my Stitch With Me. I did list it in the description box though. And I can't remember what I stitched during the Stitch With Me versus this week, but we definitely got some more done in here. This and all this is done. And then I know I stitched, actually I might have stitched just letters during the Stitch With Me. So that's what it looks like. Again, this is the full width. I don't know how far down it comes. I think I did pretty consistent. So whatever this margarine is, I think it's around the same down there. So we're getting there. Once we have the alphabet done over here, then there's a couple houses and that will signal the end of this. And I do have the summer one and I have the fabric picked out and I'm going to continue to use the 823 navyish blue for all 4 of them. And I have some ideas for the colors of the other 2 seasons. So we'll see on that. And I have no idea. I will wait until probably all 4 of these are stitched to decide if I want to have them up in my craft room or if I want to put them in the scrapbook. We'll see. I haven't decided yet. I mean, I enjoy, and I think about, like, for example, Lady Halloween. She's definitely going up in the craft room. And I like the bigger pieces, but there's only so many you can display. So at some point I have to decide which ones I really want up and which ones, and yes, I can take some out and change for the season. But again, there's only so much you can store, right? So kind of, it's one of those 2 types of battles. So then that's where the scrapbook comes in handy. And so that's it. This one, I thought I'd stitch on this last night, but I didn't. So it's actually the only one that's not ironed. Because I thought I didn't bother. I was ironing yesterday afternoon. And I said, oh, I'm going to stitch in this. Why bother ironing? But then I didn't. So there we go. That's Spring Quaker. And that is my stitching this week. Put that right there. Oh, that was nice and soft. Okay. Plans for this coming week. Well, we definitely want to do a strand a day, a couple strands a day on Northern Lights. And then Hidden Harbor is definitely getting some work this week. And Betsy, we'll see my call of how much I feel called to try to get her done as soon as possible. I have an idea for the finish on the bee trading card, but I don't know if I have the supplies I need to do that. So I do have to do a little bit of looking around in the craft room. Now, I probably, if I do different techniques for some of these things or ideas, I would probably do some more finish with me's with the artist trading cards. But if it's something that I've done before or is really nothing new, I probably wouldn't do a video for every single one of those as I finish them. It kind of just goes, it'll flow back and forth depending on what we've done with that. So if there's any ways things you didn't know what to do and how to finish something like that, and you wanted some more information, let me know, and then I can see how I can work all that in. So we'll see. Next week, we'll see what you get. I don't know what we'll be doing, but I'm not sure I'll have that one fully finished. I'm 95% sure I need something to finish that. Okay, moving on. I got a little bit of happy mail from a wonderful stitchy friend. Thank you so much. I did not ask to say their name, so I'm not going to. You know who you are. And I love this. They sent me this tiny little article about the history of Adirondack chairs, given my 2 projects with the Adirondack chairs. And I love Adirondack chairs. We have 2 in our front porch. We had 4 back in Connecticut. We brought the other 2 down. We don't have space quite yet for them, but we do want to make a little tiny patio right off of the screen porch. And if we do that, because then Mo would have a place for his grill, I would put the Adirondack chairs there. And I find them so comfortable. I love stitching in them. The angle is just perfect for my height. Mo finds them comfortable, but maybe a tiny bit less. But for me as a shorter person, I love how they fit. So this was really cool. I really enjoyed reading about it. And what did it was 1903 in New York. was where they were first made by this individual. So that was a lot of fun reading that. And then it's funny because she reached out and said she had some black Aida, 14 count. Do you think anybody would want it? So I said, absolutely. I know there's many of you that stitch on 14 count, and some of you don't necessarily stitch on 14 count, but for black fabric, which is harder to see, you like the 14. So there's a bunch of that you will see as a giveaway down the line, because that is so helpful with that. And then she sent me some, she had realized that she didn't love her étoiles, and I do really enjoy adding them in spots. So she sent me some étoile, and then she sent me some patterns to either keep or give away, and I most definitely am going to share with you. So there are a bunch of different patterns and things that you will see as giveaways. So thank you so much. This was, I was expecting the fabric, which was definitely gonna be a giveaway, and then I got this lovely package, and it was like Christmas morning opening it up. So thank you so much for that. So that was my happy mail, and I love your note, and I love your card. Alrighty, so that's that. And shopping. I have a little bit of shopping. One is a fabric of the month, and it's from Bestitch Me, and it would be, what month are we? We're August, so it would be July. So close your eyes if you don't want to see if you are in Bestitch Me's fabric of the month. I'm going to lift up the name. You could kind of, sometimes I don't know whether or not to say them if it would give it away. So you're looking away, right? All right, here we go. So that's what it is. It's an 18 count Aida. So of course, as you know, they all kind of die a little differently. Isn't that pretty? It's really, really nice. And don't look yet if you want to be surprised. I know it's a little out there, but hey, look what I'm doing for the summer one. I'm going to consider, I'm not saying it's 100% the choice, but I'm considering the fall Quaker on this. So we'll see. All right, I'm going to put it down. I will think about it. I will keep it out with a couple other fabrics when, I mean, the fall Quaker's not even out yet, and I haven't even started summer, so I've got plenty of time to decide that. But what I do, especially if I'm going to go with something that's strong color, I just let it sit. And every time I walk by, I glance at it. And I'll try to do multiple fabrics if it's between 2 or 3. And I put the flosses out and I just let it, I don't even stop and really think about it. I just look at it and then I go. And then over time, I start to decide this or that won't work. And it slowly just changes. And before you know it, I have a decision. So we'll see. Then the only other piece of shopping I did, I don't know if it was last video or the video before, I was watching Stitching with Sandy, and she had talked about how she had made an order at Fat Quarter Shop because they were highlighting a designer. So those charts were on sale from Hands on Design. And I was thinking, oh, let me go see what they have. And I did, and I picked up some. So all you're going to see is all Hands on Design. I only bought some of the sale patterns, and that was it in this order. So I picked up Christmas Eve. I picked up, you know what, and these are in the plastic, but I'll just leave them there now. Zinc House Row. So I picked that one up. Those 2 little ones. I like these designs. I won't make them in that shape. I'll square them out most likely. Then I picked up Signs of the Season. Those are cute. And so I think I might try to do at least one of these for this year. We'll see. I picked up, you know, I had to get Resting Beach Face. That's so cute. I've looked at it and looked at it, but so here it was on sale. I said, I'm going to pick that one up. And then the only other one I picked up, it's oh, this is not the blocks. I was thinking about the blocks, and that I have, is that Hands on Design as well? The block party blocks? I would stitch them as one. I won't stitch them and do all that because I don't have the space for it. I'd rather stitch it as a full piece. And this one, there's a portion of it that you could certainly stitch just a little bit of it. There's little pieces of it, but it also is one long one. So it's called Put on the Hat. But I like it long. I like it with different areas. And I didn't even realize it. It comes with a finishing piece of that on top. So I don't know if I would use that maybe just as a finishing piece in a different way, because I wouldn't necessarily make that. But I didn't even realize it. I thought I was just getting the chart. So there you go. So that's the other one I picked up. So that's what I picked up. And they'll go in the pile. And I think that the Halloween, the Signs of the Season though, I think I'd like to look at that one and see if there's something I can stitch on that and pick that up. So I don't know what size those are. 63 by 55. So they're not too big. Okay. Alrighty. So that's it. That's the shopping. I did get my notice that my Fortnite fabric of the month from July has been shipped. So hopefully you will see that next week. But because I wanted to clear the list and buy some teacher stuff, I didn't spend a lot on cross stitch stuff. I said I was going to put my budget. I have some things that I'm really, really, really tempted to buy on my wish list at Etsy, some digital charts. But I said not this week. So we'll see when I figure out my budget. And when there's one though I did want to start in August for a specific reason. So I'm hoping to buy that. And if I do, I'll tell you why and try to get it started in August for that. But there's some other ones too. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So that is the shopping. That's it. Okay, now for giveaway stuff. Where did I put? Oh, I put it right here. Hold on a second. I have a couple reminders that I wanted to give. So the first one, and this will be the final reminder for this. Last week would have, but because that section got chopped off of the video, I mentioned it in the Stitch With Me, but I don't count that as official. So this is the last week, Justine Dowell, that you have a chance for the Mill Hill, the Jim Shore Mill Hill Santa. So if I do not hear from you, I will choose a new winner of this next week or next video. Okay, so that's that one. And then my 3,000 giveaway, I heard from 2 of the 3 winners. So I'm trying to find some color here. What can I, oh, piece of yellow cardstock is the closest thing. Let's see if that'll work. Margaret Schmuss, you won a Heaven and Earth chart of your design. So if you could reach out to me, we'll chat about which one you want and how I will get that to you. So congratulations, Margaret, if you could get back to me. Okay. And then I have nothing to choose this week, pick out of the blue bowl, because I didn't do a giveaway. I went with the teacher's lists instead, but I do have something. Oh, you know what? I didn't take it out. Let's see if I can do this quietly. Now that we're in August and we're getting towards the fall season, I thought I'd pick something that was a little bit more autumn related. If you wanted to stitch it this year during autumn, you could. I had plans of stitching all of these, and I stitched one in the series. This was the second one I bought, and I decided I didn't want to. So I didn't buy the others in the series, which is good. Otherwise, they'd be giveaways down the road. But I decided I'd rather share it with somebody who would want to stitch it. So I am passing on the Autumn ABCs from Little House Needleworks. I just decided that there's so many other things that I've got in my list to stitch that I would like to share that with one of you. So if you could say the word, and let's see what's in here. Underneath the little, what would be probably the schoolhouse, is some apples. So if you say the word apple, I will put your name in the list, and I will choose a winner for this chart. So it's never been used. I've had it, I've owned it, but I've chosen that I decided I didn't want to stitch it. So actually, I'll leave that out. So it's actually never even, except for this cover, it's never come out of the plastic. All right, so apple for that. And that's it. If you want to head on out, thank you so much for joining me. And I've just got a little bit of life stuff to talk about. You got a lot of life stuff on the Stitch with Me. So that was kind of fun. Bug update, bee update. We did have the bug people come. And wouldn't you know it, because of the paving, he couldn't come the week before where they were really active. So he came this week. What day did he come? Might have been Monday. There wasn't a bee to be found. And so we talked about it with him, and he said they probably didn't find any cicadas, so it wasn't worth it for them to stay. He did look for some holes to see if he could find where they were burrowing, but he said, nope, they've moved on. So somebody else's yard is now being inundated with the bees looking for the cicadas. So that's good. That's good to know. I did ask him though too, because they burrow, would that cause any problems, by the house or the foundation and stuff? And he said, no, not to worry about that. So that was another thing. So if you're worried about that part of it, he didn't seem very concerned with that. So that was our bee update. So now I don't have to hug the house to go in and out anymore, because there's some little regular bees, but bumblebee, I don't mind those. And there's some butterflies floating around and stuff, but that's about it. Our flowers are starting to, I don't even have a light green thumb. Like, I don't have a green thumb in any shape or form. So when I plant or we plant stuff, it's always a guess. And if anything actually blooms properly, I jump up and down for joy, because it was accidental. So some things are starting to look, I'm sure their season's kind of ending, looking a little ragged. Some things are still looking pretty good. Our window box flowers I think they're done. There's a lot of greenery still, and it's kind of going over the window box. So I said to Mo, let's just keep the greenery until the fall, and maybe we'll grab some marigolds or something like that and put them in the box. That'd be pretty, I guess, for the autumn. So we'll see. So that's the bee update. And then Mo is still chugging along with one crutch, but now he can do one crutch outside the house as well as inside the house. And I guess apparently he's having, the boot is higher than his other foot. So the therapist had told him about something that you put under the shoe of your good leg that lifts you up so that they're kind of even. So he ordered one of those. It should be in tomorrow. So now, because once he's just in the boot, one foot would be way higher than the other when the crutches go away. And so this way, she's like, so you don't end up with any hip or back issues. So that was his big discovery. And then we actually, for the first time all summer, we actually did something. We went on a little mini date. Before Mo hurt himself, Top Gun Maverick had come out in the movie theater, and it came out around Memorial Day weekend. And I told him, absolutely not. I'm not going opening weekend on a holiday weekend to the movies for something they'd been talking about for months, right? So he wasn't hurt then, but then he hurt himself, and he was so bummed. And surprisingly, it's still in the theater. So he looked last weekend. He said, it's gonna be in the theater all week. If I take Wednesday off, should we go to the movies? I said, sure. So that's what we did. Was he took a half day on Wednesday, worked in the morning, and then it was a 12:50 movie. So we went a nice matinee, and it was a hot day. So it was kind of nice because it was a good place to be. Everybody else was at the beach. We were in the air conditioning of the movies, and we watched the movie. And then we went to the grocery store afterwards, which really wasn't the fun part of anything, but I needed tamari for, I use that in lieu of soy sauce very often. And I couldn't get it at the other grocery store I had shopped at. So I said, if we're going to do dinner, I need tamari. So, that was, the movie part was fun. The grocery store was not so fun, but we really enjoyed the movie. I have thoughts about it. So I'm thinking if I can do another Stitch with Me, which I really enjoyed, and many of you seem to enjoy, we'll chat about the movie, but I really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, it's a nice way to pass an afternoon or an evening or whatever. It's good. So that was our big adventure. We went on a date. We actually did something this summer besides doctor's offices, physical therapists, and grocery stores. Now, I don't know how much more will be done this summer because, you know, he's working out the whole crutches, no crutches boot thing. So we'll see. Hopefully maybe for the fall we can have some little bit more activity or even just going places type of thing. So that was our big adventure and big date this week. And then extreme excitement. He is so thrilled that today, Friday, August, I think it's 5th, right? I don't even know anymore what day it is the start of Premier League. So tomorrow Aston Villa is playing, but he's so excited about today. You know, we see them afternoon, right? Usually, because it would be later over in the UK, the games generally. There's always a 7:30 Saturday morning one, but and then 10 o'clock. But then something like this on a Friday night over in the UK, it'll be played at night. Here it's a 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He's already started work early, and what's really cool is his employer has said for the summer, if employees get their Friday started early and so on and so forth, and they feel like they've gotten all their work done, they can leave early. I mean, he's remote, right? So he never actually leaves. He can check his phone at any given time, but he has his office and he does, you know, a routine of working in the office, in the house. So he can leave early. So he's already planning on leaving early so he can watch the game today. And I think tomorrow's game's at 10 a.m. for Aston Villa. So that's where we'll be. He's super, super excited. And I have to say, I enjoy sharing with him. And I've gotten to enjoy it more watching it as well. I don't necessarily have as strong a feeling about a team as he does. So I can take or leave. I like having it on in the background, actually. A lot of times if I'm stitching, sometimes it's just something I can listen to and stitch. But so I'll watch Aston Villa with him just so we can do something together. But, you know, for me, it doesn't really matter so much what team. So, but that's the big adventure this weekend that, you know, we're watching that this afternoon and tomorrow morning. So I guess it's great when it's like 100 degrees and he can't go anywhere anyway. It comes at a perfect time. So that will be our date that way. And that's about it. That's all I've got. I'm hoping for some stitching time maybe this week. We'll see. I think the next couple weeks are going to get a little bit busier. I have to get Connor's going back to school in a few weeks and his room is a disaster. And I know there's things he needs to order. And I said to Mo, I said, I'm giving him one more reminder. I'm going to mention it one more time. And then if he doesn't order it, that's his fault. He's sunk. He's just not going to have it for school, or he's going to have to order it and have it sent to school once he gets there. Because he's 19. He's going to be a sophomore in college. There's no reason he can't. I think I'm being generous giving him the reminder. So, especially because it's things that, you know, if it was something that was just like he needed a shoehorn, so we stuck that onto an order, you know, I mean, that's fine, but it's something he needs to choose and pick for the room. So I can't do that. That's something he's got to do. But his room, let's just say once he goes back to school, that is going to get a big, giant, massive cleaning. And we'll go from there. So anyway, that's about it. Stitching time, you may not see as many projects. We'll see. I don't know. I don't have a clue. But as we start to try to get him more ready, and I think we're going to have a bit of a visit from Meg. So before she officially, you know, between internship and officially starting back at school. So I think time will be a little bit more limited for stitching. We'll see. So we'll never know. You'll just have to come back each week and see what may or may not have gotten stitched on. But thank you so much for being here each and every week, or whenever you can. I appreciate just your friendship whenever you get a chance to stop by and drop by and visit. So hope you got lots of stitching in if you were stitching, and boom, we just hit 1 hour. Let's hope the video uploads well, and I hope you are keeping either cool or warm, depending on where in the world you are, and whatever your weather happens to be. I hope you're well, I hope you're safe, and until next time, happy stitching.